The story of Hakuri Sazanami, deuteragonist of manga series Kagurabachi, is one of self-worth, familial abuse, trauma, and the courage to forge your own path and stand up to your abusers despite the love you share, twisted as it may be. The story begins with him being born into the notorious Sazanami clan, who are known for being the proprietors of the Rakuzaichi, the infamous yearly black market auction where human beings are sold as merchandise, among other goods. The Sazanami clan alone has held the power to be the sole patrons of the Rakuzaichi for over 200 years, and that is thanks to their hereditary sorcery. Those born into the Sazanami family are trained in sorcery for the purpose of being strong enough to protect the Rakuzaichi with their lives. This auction is so deeply ingrained into their cultural identity that the Sazanami clan motto is honor the Rakuzaichi above all else. When Hakuri was 8 years old, his grandfather and 10th patriarch of the Sazanami clan passed away. At his funeral, Hakuri's father, Kiora Sazanami, and now 11th patriarch, tells his sons Soya, Hakuri, and Tenri the history of their special hereditary sorcery. It began with the first patriarch of the clan, a man who was a brilliant innovator and possessed sorcery that governed space. Roughly 200 years ago, he created the storehouse, an infinitely extending pocket dimension that only the current patriarch has access to. It is in this maximum security storehouse that the Sazanami clan stores its precious merchandise. So, with this creation, the Sazanami dynasty as a family of merchants began. Kiora has now inherited this power, and he tells his sons, eventually, he will pass it on to one of them. Kiora kneels down and asks his sons, "Hey now, don't you love me?" His youngest answer, "We love you. Of course we do." Normally, people can't pass down sorcery, but it is the strong bond between the Sazanami that makes this unique inheritance possible. Because we have that bond, we can never truly be separated, Kiora says before embracing his sons as they mourn their father and grandfather. After a moment, Hakuri tells his dad that he's decided that he's going to become a leader that surpasses even him. "Oh, is that so?" his dad replies. "Well then, I'll expect great things from you." Later that same year, Kiora brings his sons to the stage of the Rakuzaichi at a time while the venue is empty to teach them of its significance. The Rakuzaichi whips its clients into a passionate frenzy because we deliver products of the highest value. As the Sazanami clan, we rule over that passion and stand at the very top. That's exactly why we have to be strong, he tells them. In all of history, no one has ever violated this stage, though every year, people will try. It's thanks to the Toe, the Sazanami clan's elite force, who over the years have protected this solid tradition by killing trespassers. He kneels down and tells Hakuri and Tenri that they are special. The fact that they are the only ones with the privilege to step foot on this stage is proof of that. In a few short years, it would seem that these words did not hold the weight or meaning that Kiora had said them with. In the Sazanami family, members are trained to use spirit energy at the age of 8. At the age of 11, they learn how to use Iso, sorcery that 90% of the clan possesses that allows one to create and command shockwaves. However, when Hakuri was 12, he couldn't do what everyone else was doing at 8 years old. It was at this point, Hakuri was no longer allowed to train, and his relentless bullying by his family began. Hakuri was perceived as weak and useless, the worst thing he could possibly be in the Sazanami family. Hakuri was physically beaten, verbally abused, stripped of his dignity and humanity by his own family that said they loved him. The worst perpetrator of this abuse was his older brother, Soya, who supposedly loved him the most. Soya would routinely use objects such as a wrench, a potato peeler, a steel pipe, a chair, or a rope to physically abuse Hakuri, but then mysteriously lose them before continuing abuse with simple fists. This would continue for years, and was a harsh contrast to Hakuri's younger brother of 1 year, Tenri, who in this time single-handedly defeated an entire defected faction, and by doing so, proved himself worthy of becoming a member of the Toe before the age of 16, the youngest member in history, a true prodigy, and the ideal member of the Sazanami clan. Around the same time, Kiora, the current patriarch, took Hakuri's older brother into his office to have a serious discussion. He told Soya that he would be the one to inherit the power of the storehouse, and that once he does, he would no longer be able to use Iso, because fundamentally, a sorcerer can only wield one type of power. That is, with the exception of the first patriarch, who was a genius and a maverick unlike anything ever seen in the world of sorcery. He told Soya the truth about their hereditary sorcery. Not only could the first patriarch wield both Iso and the storehouse, but the power to create the storehouse was heretical to sorcery. That's why the storehouse isn't inherited by blood, but passed down through a ceremony. It's a sacred power that comes with the price of your original sorcery. That's why Henry cannot inherit the storehouse, because he's a rare talent, whose destiny is to become the strongest warrior. Your destiny, Soya, is to become the patriarch. Do you understand? It's time for you to heed your station and forget about Hakuri. Don't fixate on that failure. It's only because he's a failure that he's so endearing. Now, fast forwarding to the present, a couple months before the main story takes place, it is the preparation phase of Rakuzaichi number 208, and Hakuri is entrusted with a job, the first one in a long time. Hakuri is to look after lot number 24, girl with icy skin, who's being kept alone in a warehouse. He's to make sure this girl eats in order to retain her value as merchandise for the Rakuzaichi. Hey, you didn't eat anything again. You haven't eaten or drunk a single thing since you arrived 2 days ago. You'll die if you keep this up. I don't care, she told him. I'd rather die than be bought and sold by disgusting lowlives. It's not up to you, he responded. You're valuable merchandise. I have to make sure you eat, for the Rakuzaichi's sake. In 3 weeks, you'll be transferred to the storehouse. Until then, I'm in charge of your care. I'll make sure you eat, even if it means hurting you. And if you refuse and collapse from hunger, I'll give you an IV. No matter what, I won't let you die. She was silent for a moment, and finally responded. Meals are supposed to be enjoyed with other people. I can't let you out of solitary confinement. You know that, he said back. Your strange power is that your body always radiates cold. If I put you in a space with other people, you'd cause damage. I'm not asking you to let me out of solitary confinement. I just want someone to talk with while I eat, she insisted, and pointed to Hakuri. What? Me? Hakuri was surprised as he thought to himself what a weird girl this was. She teased him. Not used to girls, huh? Do I scare you? Shut up. If I keep you company, will you eat? I might be able to choke something down, she answered. It's for the Rakuzaichi, he thought to himself again. Fine, I'll do it. After she finally eats a proper meal, she asked him, Hey, what happened to your finger? Referring to his hand that's wrapped in bandages. This? He looks at his hand as he tells her it was done by his big brother, Soya, using a pair of pliers. Bullied? By your own family? She followed up. Well, yeah, but he doesn't usually use tools. My big brother is always losing things. He's lost pretty much everything he's ever used on me. He says they disappear, then just goes back to beating me up the normal way. It'll be the same this time. He'll go back to using his fists again. That still doesn't make it okay, she objected. Using pliers is really going too far. Let me see. See what? Your finger, she said, grabbing his hand, as Hakuri exclaimed how cold she was. She squeezed his finger. Did you ice it properly? After a quiet moment, she announced, I knew it. Hakuri was confused. I don't know why, but they reject you. Making you look after me is part of it, isn't it? You knew? He asked. Yeah, for some reason I feel comfortable with you. We're the same. We're both rejects. Hakuri looked troubled. Let's escape together. Forget this place. Hey, Hakuri finally interjected. Now you're trying to trick me. You got me, she playfully responded. But I do actually sympathize with you. So don't hesitate to take me up on it if you have a change of heart. I could teach you things you don't know about the outside. Don't get carried away. We're not equals here, Hakuri coldly snapped back. I'm a merchant, and you're the merchandise. She sadly looked away and said nothing. The only reason I'm talking with you is that so you'll eat and maintain your value as merchandise. It's all for the Rakuzaichi. Even though your family bullies you? She asked. It's my own fault for being so useless. I can't do anything. That's why I want to be useful, if only for a little bit. So go on, eat. For the next couple of weeks, Hakuri continued to talk with her during her meals, and she would ice the various wounds and bruises he would get. She even started to finish her meals and get healthier. Hakuri was really glad because it meant he was being useful to the Rakuzaichi and his family. One day, Hakuri came in with particularly severe wounds, his face still caked with blood. What happened? She exclaimed. Nothing. It just went on longer than usual, he plainly responded. She asked why. No reason, Hakuri said. Intake is tomorrow. This is your last meal here. Go on, eat. This is my job. He thought about how this is all for the Sazanami clan, and the memory of hugging his family at his grandfather's funeral, as he buried his head in his arms. "Why do you take it?" she asked. Hakuri broke down. "I deserve it. I can't do an iso. I can't do anything. I'm nothing special to the Sazanami clan." "You poor thing. You're the one trapped in a cage. Living in such a tiny space, you lose sight of your true value." "True value? What value do I have?" Hakuri pleaded. "You talk with me. Thanks to you, I've enjoyed these meals." Hakuri stared at the ground with tears still in his eyes. The next day, the day lot number 24 is supposed to be transferred to the storehouse, Hakuri walks in to the girl with icy skin surprise. "Let's eat together again today." "You said yesterday was the last time," she doubted. Hakuri flashed a key. "Outside. Let's go eat. I was hoping to win you over," she said as she grinned. "Change of heart?" 100%, Hakuri answered as he unlocked the cage. When Hakuri briefly stepped out to get what they needed to run away together, he came back to find her holding a knife to her neck. "Sorry to keep you waiting. Let's go. Wait, what the?" "I found it. Must be stolen merchandise, right?" "No, I mean, why?" "This is why I want to get out of my cell. I'm sorry for using you, but you refused to let me starve. From the very beginning, I wanted to die. There's no point in living with skin like this." "But your skin soothed my injuries." "The person I love the most said things like that at first, but after a while, he sold me. The same thing always happened. I already know. Because of my skin, people always abandon me. My only worth is as a curiosity or a tool. Even outside the cage, there's no hope." "Wait, but we talked together," Hakuri pleaded, but it was too late. She had already slit her throat. Hakuri held her as she bled out on the floor, thought about all the things she said. How she was sold by the person she loved. He thought about the things he said. "You're valuable merchandise. If I put you in a space with others, you'd cause damage." The Rakuzachi had destroyed her heart, and Hakuri killed her. This was Hakuri's breaking point. He couldn't take it anymore, and he couldn't bear to live in the ways of the Sazanami clan anymore. So he ran away, and vowed to put an end to the Rakuzachi. The next time we see our boy is around 2 months later, where Hakuri is sitting in a cafe by himself, reflecting on his pet praying mantis, Samurai, who ran away about 5 years ago. Hakuri was overcome with sadness for some time, but he gritted his teeth and pushed through it. He likened this loss to the more recent loss of his family he had just run away from. It's the same with any loss. You just have to grit your teeth and push through it. In the next panel, however, we see Hakuri's actions completely betraying his thoughts, as his drink pours out of his open mouth all over the floor. Hakuri is completely and utterly lost at this point. Losing his family means losing all purpose and direction he previously had. He misses his pet mantis. He needs a samurai. Hakuri then notices a flash of light outside the window, and we recognize this is happening during the previous arc in the series, more precisely, during Chihiro and Sojo's first time fighting with the enchanted blades.
"Their only purpose is to kill. Electrocute in all directions. Massacre."
This greasy madman yells just meters from the window Hakuri is watching from. "Wait, no. Not yet. I still have a job to do," Hakuri thought to himself as the lightning became too bright to look at. When the light subsided, Hakuri was confused, as he was fine. He saw Chihiro out of the window, beaten and bruised. What just happened? Did he absorb the lightning? No way. He'd be dead. He'd have to be dead. Chihiro staggers. Oh, he is dead. Well, that makes sense. That's just how it goes.
Nishiki.
A samurai! We jump forward a few weeks, exactly 1 week before this year's Rakuzachi takes place. Hakuri is still focused on the job he has to do. He said that day, a samurai lit his helpless existence on fire. He saw a little girl getting kidnapped, so he jumped into action. Karate chopped the kidnapper's hand away from her and told her to run. "Oh no, you don't." He jumped into their car in her place and shouted with determination, "Take me with you." When they got to the disgusting criminal's hideout, however, all he was met with was a beating. "Stupid kid, ruining the boss's fun." "Relax," the boss said. "It's almost time for the Rakuzachi. I could buy plenty of young flesh to butcher there." "But boss, that kid who got away was totally your type," the scum argued back. "Then go track her down," the boss answered, not needing much convincing. "Hear that? It was pointless. Why'd you do such a dumb thing? The goons taunted Hakuri as they beat him more. Maybe I could be like him, Hakuri thought while thinking of the samurai who saved him. Yeah, I was out of my league. No wonder I end up like this. Scumbags. Hakuri hardened his resolve, confidently stood up, and yelled, Iso! The boss realized Hakuri might be a sorcerer, but nothing happened. Just kidding? So you think you're funny? Have fun roughing him up before you chop him and toss him, the boss told his goons before they walked away, still making fun of him. That's when they noticed something. A goldfish. It's a goldfish! He's coming!
Kuro.
They were all dead before they had a chance to touch him, leaving the pitiful boss alone, now powerless. So, you're the guy who's been on a rampage the last few days. What do you want? I have a question. Hey. But the coward had already fainted from overwhelming fear. Samurai! Hakuri finally called out. Chihiro thought for a second he might be an enemy, but surmised he was a prisoner from his condition. You okay? I see it now. What I need in my life is a samurai. That's you. Hakuri was hysterical. It's the second time. The second time, dude. Chihiro thought he was just confused and started asking him basic questions like his name. Hakuri Sazanami, pleased to meet you. This is fate. Fate! At this point, Chihiro said, screw this, I'm out of here, this guy's crazy, and ran off before pausing for a moment. Wait, what did you say your name was? Hakuri Sazanami. Sazanami? Chihiro had spent weeks prowling through society's underbelly to obtain information on the Rakuzaichi, because this year, his father's masterpiece katana, the Shinuchi, was being auctioned. And here was a member of the Sazanami right in front of him. Maybe it was fate. Will you listen to my story? Hakuri told Chihiro how he wanted to eradicate the loathsome event that is the Rakuzaichi. Chihiro asked him why, since he's a member of the clan. Yeah, well, I used to be a part of the family, he said. I was the weakest kid ever born to the Sazanami, without any talent for sorcery. Plus, I got in the way of business, so they disowned me. He explained how living humans, as well as corpses, are sold at the Rakuzaichi, and that both the buyers and the sellers are despicable. As a kid, it was normal to him, but one day, he realized how disgusting it was, how much suffering it caused for so many people. So now, the Rakuzaichi must be stopped. He asked Chihiro if saving people was his thing, to which Chihiro replied, Not really, I'm just trying to learn more about the Rakuzaichi. Hakuri emoted, What a crazy coincidence, I'm a Sazanami. Chihiro asked him if he had any insider information, such as where they store the goods. Yeah, I do. What, do you want to steal something? Chihiro plainly answered, Yeah, the Shinuchi. Hakuri was taken aback by this, as it was common knowledge that the Shinuchi was this year's headliner. So if you get your hands on it, the Rakuzaichi will be finished. Wait, in other words, we share the same goal. Hakuri told him he's heard of the Shinuchi's insane power, and asked what he wanted to use it for. Chihiro distantly replied, I don't know. I'll figure it out after I get it back. I'm just scared. The Shinuchi's an enchanted blade. It's important to me. If someone's auctioning it, then they're up to something. There's going to be bloodshed. If I don't do something and an enchanted blade takes the lives of innocent people, I wouldn't be able to bear that. Chihiro then got a phone call from Mr. Shiba, informing him that someone is coming after him, and that they needed to quickly get back to base. They were being pursued by Hiyuki Kagari, a wielder of the Flamebone of the Starving, a weapon with powers beyond normal sorcery, on par with enchanted blades. As if on cue, the elevator doors opened to show the woman they were just talking about. Yo, I've been looking for you, Chihiro Rokuhira. I'll give you one warning. Lay down that enchanted blade, and I'll put away Flamebone. Hakuri notes for the first time Chihiro is carrying an enchanted blade, and Rokuhira? Isn't that the name of the legendary swordsmith? Also, sumo wrestler? The wrestler explains that he put them all in a holy sumo ring, domain expansion of sorts. It's separate from the regular world, and won't dissolve until the match is over. Chihiro tried explaining that he had no reason to fight the government, but Hiyuki was already attacking him, telling him to hand over the enchanted blades. Chihiro tried telling her that he broke the Cloud Gouger, but that just provoked her more, as that was so ridiculous she thought he was lying. She caught up on more of the flame bone, as she reminded Chihiro of the misery enchanted blades can bring. Hakuri had been watching from the sidelines. The samurai's on the defensive, he thought. He's clearly in trouble. Hakuri remembered the first time Chihiro saved him, before yelling, "Go to hell!" as he dashed towards the middle of the two powerhouses' duel. He took a direct hit from the flame bone to the face and collapsed as he said. He didn't really understand what was going on, but one thing was for sure. "You saved me. Not just today, but when you fought that lightning dude. You saved me and everyone there. There's one thing I can say for sure. That katana suits you." He told Chihiro to take care of these guys so that they could steal the Shinichi, which prompted both parties to fight even harder. Chihiro hardened his resolve, and Hyuki summoned more of the flame bone, but as their match was about to get deadly, Hakuri passed out from his wound, prompting the holy sumo ring to disappear, allowing Chihiro to grab Hakuri and make the quick escape to base. Upon hearing Chihiro's story and reason for stealing the Shinichi, Hakuri was brought to tears, saying, "Damn, even your destiny is so samurai." When Chihiro's friends Hinao and Char arrive at base, they call him a mess before Char uses her powers to heal his face. He even earns the trust of Mr. Shiba, who is reluctant to trust the Sazanami, after Chihiro tells him he took a hit from the flame bone for him. When he's all healed up, he explains to Chihiro and Shiba that the Shinichi is in the storehouse, and although every member of the family has been inside the storehouse, no one actually knows its location, except for his father, Kiora. Since they can't go in the storehouse, Chihiro and Shiba instead ask Hakuri the location of the Sazanami residence so they can confront Kiora directly, while Hinao, Char, and Hakuri stay behind. During this confrontation, Chihiro and Shiba learn of the subspace nature of the storehouse, and back at base, Hakuri agrees to run an errand for Hinao, eager to be useful in any way. While Chihiro and Shiba are getting stun-locked by Kyora's information overload, not knowing if it's true or a bluff, Kiora uses that time to call the Toe and turn the tables on them. The Toe is the Sazanami clan's top 4 fighters, except there's only 3 of them. "Where's Soya?" Kiora asks. And Tenri answers, "He's still looking for Hakuri." Hakuri turns a corner and runs into his big brother, as images of him ruthlessly beating him flash through his mind. "Hey, Hakuri, I've been looking all over for you. I've really missed you." It's too much for Hakuri. He immediately turns to jump off the 4-story building they're on, but his brother catches him. "Whoa, watch it. You're really weak. You can die if you fall from this height." "I'd rather fall. You came here to kill me, didn't you? Since I ruined the merchandise, right?" "No way. We're brothers, aren't we? I just came to bring you back. We'll talk to father. The only reason you disobeyed the Sazanami clan is because that merchandise woman tempted you. It made you crazy, right? Well, she's dead now. So you've woken up, right?" Hakuri remembered the woman with icy skin before defiantly yelling, "No, I'm not coming back. I'm no longer part of the Sazanami clan." His brother tightened his grip on Hakuri's shoulder. "Hey, what gives? You aren't someone who talks back like this." At that moment, Hinao came around the corner and happily called to Hakuri, telling him it looked like it was going to rain, so she brought him an umbrella. Soya turned around, tears already forming in his eyes. "Oh, I get it. You got tangled up with another bad woman, didn't you, Hakuri? Fine then. I'll just kill her, so you can come back for real this time." Hakuri grabbed his brother and yelled at Hinao to run, but Soya easily grabbed his arm and smashed Hakuri's face into the ground. "Give me back my little brother," he said as he walked toward her, while Hakuri grabbed his ankle in protest, saying, "She's got nothing to do with this. You're the ones who are crazy." Fortunately, Hinao had already dialed Mr. Shiba's number behind her back, signaling to him that something was wrong, so he could use his teleportation sorcery to immediately arrive at the scene. "Is this the guy, Hinao?" "Yeah, that's him. Let's go somewhere with a little more room." Hinao asks Hakuri if he's okay, while Shiba and Soya fight in the sky.
Iso!
Upon seeing his strength, Shiba elects to make it a 5 versus 2 by teleporting the 2 of them back to the Sazanami estate, in order to avoid making Chihiro fight the remaining Toe all by himself. When Shiba teleports them back, Soya is confused. "What's going on? Why am I back home? Just when I found Hakuri." This was crucial information to reveal to Kiora, who was already wondering how Chihiro and Shiba found their home, and these circumstances affirmed his suspicions that he didn't want to believe. Kiora used his storehouse sorcery to summon Hakuri. "It was you. You led them here," he said. Everyone stops as they are confused by Hakuri suddenly appearing on the battlefield. I can retrieve any item registered to the storehouse at will, Kiora explained. All members of the Sazanami are registered in a ceremony at birth. This way, I can protect my children from outside enemies in an emergency. Any sorcerer would easily sense that they were registered. He spat, while putting Hakuri under his foot and holding a blade to his neck. So he's your precious informant, huh? Would you like him back? Chiba attempts a bluff, telling Kiora that he's already told him everything he knows, and that he can do what he wants with him, noting Kiora's trembling hand. You think I'm hesitating? Far from it. I'm trembling with rage and sadness. This pathetic wretch was born a Sazanami, but he can't even do sorcery. He's useless. Worse, he's a hindrance. His life was worthless, but even so, it would sadden me to kill my own son. At first I thought merely to banish him, but my benevolence was wasted. Once more he's caused nothing but trouble, and now, it seems he's worthless even as a hostage. So be it. Kiora begins to swing a sword, but Chihiro sheaths his enchanted blade. Wait, as far as I'm concerned, Hakuri is worth quite a lot. That guy saved me. Kiora greedily replied, In that case, show me what he's worth to you. And in response, Chihiro gave up the secret 7th enchanted blade, the N10. The one his father gave his life to make, in exchange for Hakuri's life. Back at base, Hakuri is still in tears, apologizing for only dragging Chihiro down, and Shiba is also apologizing for teleporting Soya to the battlefield, before Chihiro stops them to say it's nobody's fault, and everything went exactly as planned, as it's revealed that Chihiro can use the goldfish that come out of his blade like reconnaissance drones to infiltrate the storehouse. In the days leading up to the Rakuzaichi, they use this new reconnaissance feature to learn the most they've ever learned about the storehouse, and while Hakuri is still feeling like a burden, Chihiro tells him that he's actually the one that gave him the confidence to make this move, and trust in this new function of the blade, remembering how Hakuri told him that katana suits him, and that they'll be counting on him to answer the new questions they'll be getting from this recon, to which Hakuri enthusiastically replies, Got it. One of these questions was about a strange door Chihiro saw, and after drawing it, Hakuri was able to point out that it was the door in the Nagi Nojin, the Sazanami clan's ancestral underground cemetery, and that this must be the only other way to access the storehouse besides the Patriarch sorcery. This finally takes us to November 8th, the day of the 208th Rakuzaichi. Chihiro and the gang have finally formulated a plan to steal back the Shinichi. Chihiro will enter the auction directly and fight the frontline bodyguards using the broken Cloud Goucher enchanted blade that he acquired in the previous arc, where he will also be able to get Hiyuki on their side by telling her the enemy now has his enchanted blade, so she needs to protect his lifelong contract to prevent the enemy from wielding its full potential. While Chihiro is holding all of the attention above ground, Shiba and Hakuri will teleport below ground to fight the Toe, who Kiora has guarding the door to the storehouse. Hakuri will lighten Shiba's burden by briefly showing his face and running away to get his hysterical brother Soya to chase after him, making Shiba only have to fight a 3-on-1. But don't worry, because Shiba is that guy. Hakuri will run upstairs to meet with Chihiro, who is on his way down, so Chihiro can take care of Hakuri's older brother. However, this is where something unexpected happens. The Hashaku are here, and right when Hakuri and Chihiro see each other, they block them off from one another with sorcery to talk with Chihiro alone, leaving Hakuri cornered by his older brother, who's elated. Hakuri, you came to see me, right? Hakuri is dumbfounded, and he's worried about Chihiro. They didn't plan for this. Should he just turn around and go back to Mr. Shiba? Then it'd be a 4-on-1 again, and there'd be no point of him even being there. Should he just endure this beating until Chihiro gets to him? The Hashaku sorcerer looked tough, so it'd be a long battle. Hakuri knew whatever he did, Chihiro and Shiba wouldn't blame a worthless loser like him, because they're nice. This is when Hakuri remembered his pet praying mantis, Samurai. His subconscious spoke to him through his long-lost pet. Are you really good with that? Just because someone's nice doesn't mean you should take advantage of them, dumbass. Hakuri realized what he needed to do to be useful. He hardened his resolve. No, let me go, you jerk. He shoved his brother's hands off of him. I'm here to defeat you. Iso! Unfortunately, it was another misfire, and Soya grabbed Hakuri by the neck. Listen, I'm really on edge here. I can't take this. Defeat me. What do you think you can do? Well, he yelled, throwing Hakuri to the ground. and then kicking him directly in the stomach. See? The only thing you know how to do is curl up into a ball. That's right, Hakuri thinks to himself. I'm weak. His brother continues to yell at him. You know that. That's who you are. What's come over you? This is because of Chihiro Rokuhira, isn't it? What about me, huh? Open your eyes. Chihiro's just using you to achieve his goals. When push comes to shove, Chihiro will abandon you. He'll put himself first. But I'm not like him. I love you unconditionally. It's at this point, Hakuri sees Chihiro's lightning slightly coming through the wall, but Soya was too busy terrorizing Hakuri to realize it. He needs lightning to break through the wall, Hakuri thought to himself. He must just be warming up. The next one's gonna be big. Hakuri realized he needed to get Soya in front of the wall when that happens. Shut up. That's not how Chihiro is. It's at this point we flash back to Shiba, teaching Hakuri about the fundamentals of sorcery, how you need a strong body to use it, which Hakuri already has. After all, he took a hit from the flame bone directly to the face without dying. Shiba tells him his body has gotten strong from the years of abuse as a self-defense mechanism. And that's the downside of elite families. They wrote him off at a mere 12 years old, which is way younger than normal sorcerers develop, because Shiba could tell just by looking at him, he has an aptitude for sorcery. Hakuri immediately tries to ask, then why can't he do any sorcery? But before he can finish, Shiba answers, it's your feelings. You put up mental blocks from growing up in that environment and being treated differently. You believed you couldn't do anything, and without being conscious of it, you put up barriers. Hakuri then remembers Chihiro's words. This will be the final year of the Rakuzaichi, and we'll end it together. Hakuri put up his hands one more time, while his brother says, I already told you, you can't. Iso! You just did an Iso, Soya says in disbelief. But all you did was move me with your cute little shockwave. I'm weak, Hakuri thought to himself, but it's fine, because at the perfect moment, Chihiro came piercing through the wall, right into Soya. Hakuri, we've got to hurry ahead, Chihiro immediately calls out to him. Hakuri greets him with a smile. Right, got it. And y'all, I just gotta pause real quick to tell y'all to go read this arc in its entirety, because the fights that Chihiro are going through are just as peak, if not even more peak than Hakuri's, because he's the main character, obviously. I would cover them here, but this video is about Hakuri, and it's already way longer than I planned it to be. Soya gets up and only says, enough. You're dead. Hakuri thinks how he's never seen Soya look like this before. He's serious and scary. Chihiro gets ready to fight, but Hakuri stops him, telling him the broken backup enchanted blade Chihiro is using only has a few attacks left, and to save them for the right time. He's also thinking how Chihiro could have slit Soya's throat back there, but was hesitant to kill his brother. Hakuri felt his heartbeat, he sharpened his focus. To the Sazanami, he's only a tiny bud that finally sprouted. But now that the wall is finally broken, the genius blood that flows within him accelerates that blossoming. Go on ahead, he tells Chihiro. I'll handle this. Soya tells Hakuri that he'll kill him, and that he finally gets it. There's no going back now. Ever since that woman ensnared him, he's completely lost it. Hakuri tells Chihiro to hurry up and go, as Chihiro thinks to himself. Even with Soya badly injured, Hakuri can't take on the strongest member of the toe. Please, Hakuri says. You said it yourself. We have to get moving, and I have to do this. Chihiro thinks to himself, what's going on? Hakuri wasn't like this before. Has he had a breakthrough? Hakuri thinks about hugging his family, and then the woman with icy skin. I have to put my life on the line to settle this once and for all. This finally convinces Chihiro to go downstairs and allow Hakuri to fight on his own. Hakuri and Soya face off, and both let off their own Isos. Fortunately, Soya's is still immensely stronger, and Hakuri is left bloodied on the floor in a pile of rubble. So you can use a little sorcery now. Don't get carried away. You're still no match for your big brother. He tells Hakuri that members of their clan are highly skilled, but aren't adored. So if he insists on becoming like this, then he's better off dying while he's still lovable. Soya hits him with another Iso, driving him deeper into the ground, while Hakuri keeps thinking of all the suffering the Rakuzaichi has caused. As Soya walks away, he hears something hit the ground. A pair of pliers. The same ones he used to abuse Hakuri. Then the jump rope, then the potato peeler. Coming from the same sorcery that their dad uses. Focus inward. Grasp my sorcery. Hakuri thinks to himself. It's not just Iso. There's another power within me. I'm starting to understand. As Hakuri thinks this, an image of his own storehouse becomes clearer in his mind. This can't be, Soya thinks, as he remembers their father telling him that he would be the one to inherit the storehouse, and therefore his mask, as it is the mark of the storehouse guardian and the Sazanami patriarch. And although the storehouse isn't inherited by blood, nonetheless, Kiora believes that one day, that unprecedented sorcery will re-emerge in their bloodline. That genius, only commanded by the first patriarch. Hakuri then stands up, bearing his own mask of the patriarch, and woo! Woo! One of the best panels in this series, y'all. This is so sick. Anyway, Soya rushes his little brother once more, yelling, Impossible! Why you? There's no way! You can't do anything! You could barely stand up! Stop it and just die already! Soya chokes up blood, still hurting from the wound Chihiro gave him. You're also barely holding on, big brother, Hakuri said between labored breaths. Soya struck him again, and again, and again. Die! You won't amount to anything! Hakuri almost collapses, but remembers Chihiro saving him for the first time. The samurai. Hakuri catches and steadies himself, exactly like Chihiro did on that fateful day. Why won't you go down? Why won't you die? Soya yells, It's because you always loved me. The reason Hakuri was unable to wield Iso for so long is because he was unconsciously using almost all of his spirit energy to maintain and manage his storehouse. Now that he's aware of that, Iso! With that, Hakuri defeats Soya, his big brother, abuser, and the one who loved him the most. Back underground, during Hakuri and Soya's battle, we see that Mr. Shiba is cleaned up in the 3 versus 1. He stands over Tenri, smoking a cigarette. How does the door open? Go on, or your eye's an ashtray. One of the members of the Toe says he'll tell Shiba. Tenri objects. Over my dead body? I won't let anyone interfere. Tenri remembers the praise and admiration he got from his father upon becoming the youngest member of the Toe, and thinks to himself, I have to make father proud. Almost as if Kiora can hear him, his father teleports a piece of Datenseki in front of Tenri. This is the same material that enchanted blades are made out of, but Kunoshige Rokuhira is still the only person to ever stabilize it, so wielding it will give you temporary power on par with blades. However, it will come at the cost of your life. Tenri. Defend to the death. His brother yells at him not to do it, but it's too late. Tenri grabs the weapon. Yes, sir. An overwhelming presence overtakes the room, to the point that even Chihiro and Hakuri felt it upstairs. And Tenri is back on his feet, while his spirit energy overflows and manifests into a giant jellyfish. Tenri attacks Shiba with a new speed and strength, where he's just barely able to dodge with his teleportation. Kiora continues to help Tenri fight, summoning a barrage of swords that Tenri is able to launch forward with pure spirit energy. Fortunately, it's at this exact moment that Chihiro left Hakuri's battle to join up with Shiba and save him from this attack with ice from Cloud Gouger. Chihiro realizes he's using Datenseki and tries to tell him the consequences of using it means death, to which Tenri cuts him off. I know! I have to fulfill my duty! Chihiro is left speechless. All he could think about is how evil this family is, but then he remembers something Hakuri said when talking about his brothers. This is true for me too. I just wanted my beloved father to say I was amazing. Chihiro then remembers his own father, and how much he meant to him. And he understands. Shiba cuts in, saying they should retreat since it's only a matter of time until it wears off. No, Chihiro says. If it's too late for him, I'll face him head on and give him an honorable death. Tenri almost blitzes Chihiro, but he's able to use the last embers of Cloud Gouger to cloak himself in lightning and keep up. Chihiro went in for a decisive blow, but it was already too late. Tenri's body began imploding in on itself, succumbing to the Datenseki. As he laid in a bloodied mess on the floor, he uttered his last words. Father, I'm sorry. Both battles were over. Hakuri came downstairs. Let's get to that door. We'll end this together. And I just want to pause real quick to talk about the symbolism in this panel, because it's actually beautiful and sad when you think about it. Jellyfish are known to symbolize a unique blend of strength and vulnerability. They symbolize adaptability and flow, because their own ability to swim is very limited. They evolve to trust and surrender control to the currents of the ocean, so therefore, have no control of where they end up in life. They also symbolize resilience and strength, due to their ability to survive in any harsh environments the currents take them, and regenerate. This is a brilliant metaphor for Tenri, because he's a remarkable talent and an incredibly strong fighter that thrived in the hard environment that is the Sazanami family. But ultimately, he was still the victim to the currents of his father and the Sazanami culture that led him to his early death. The Sazanami culture is perfectly represented by the next shocking revelation we uncover. When Chihiro, Hakuri, and Shiba finally get to the door, they find that it has already been destroyed. What's worse, Kiora didn't even tell the Toad this information. Chihiro is in disbelief. You mean, Tenri sacrificed his life for a door that was already broken? No, Kiora is thinking. His death was a means of revealing your hand. And that's the type of guy Kiora is. His son was nothing more than a strategic card for him to play. This dude might beat out Jing for the worst anime dads of all time. The remaining two toes square up to make sure Tenri's death is not in vain. But Hakuri quickly tells Shiba to teleport them out of there, because with his newly awakened powers, he can be the door that they need. Although Hakuri governs a space different from his dad, and he can't retrieve items from the storehouse, he can still send things in. Hakuri walks straight into the auction venue and stares his father down, wearing the very same mask of the Sazanami patriarch. If you've come all the way here, you must have figured it out, Kiora thinks to himself. You're going to try to force open my storehouse, aren't you? It's my fault for failing to discern your talents, but as of now, you're the enemy. Hakuri sadly closed his eyes. I wanted to abandon you too, but in the end, I still wanted you to praise me, father. Hakuri sends Chihiro into the hostile storehouse, where Kiora is waiting for him, and is able to attack him by controlling the physical material that the storehouse is made out of. Chihiro tells the Cloud Gouger to lock in one last time, and completely destroys Kiora's attack to buy himself enough time to finally retrieve his own enchanted blade. Chihiro! Hakuri yells as he unsheaths the ensign. Please slay my father! You got it. And with that, I am finally done with this video, man. If you made it all the way through, I greatly appreciate you. If you was engaged all the way through, then, you should leave a like. Sorry for leaving it on a cliffhanger, but this video was just getting too long. I haven't uploaded a video in almost 2 months, and that's just because this video is taking so long to edit. I do plan on making another video in the style, pretty much just picking up where I left off to cover the Chihiro and Hakuri versus the Kiora final fight. So if you'd be interested in that, you should consider subscribing so you can be here whenever I upload it. But yeah, I don't want to make this video longer than it is. Like, subscribe if you want. Keep grinding, follow your dreams. Holla at your boy, holla at your guala. Yo.
Bones.